Alrighty, welcome traders. It is Wednesday, November 8th, 2023. Let's get into the markets today and see what happened in the markets. We'll get through our trade plans. We'll talk about some of the things that are going on in our accounts as well as in the markets, things to look for. So let's jump in and we'll start with our daily review of the markets. And here's what happened in the markets today. So SPX jumped up $4.40. So SPY here up a whopping 32 cents on the day. We did open higher, dropped lower, finished up near the highs of the day, just off of the highs on the session, but technically another higher day. So if we really look at this, you got today and yesterday higher than the day before, 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 the day before. So really, there are 8 straight up days, almost unheard of in the market, but 8 straight up days in SPY. And we're not even overbought yet on the RSI here or hitting 3 ATR levels. In fact, on the daily chart, we did manage to hit the 2 ATR and fall off. We still cannot fill this gap that dates back to September 20th here. So we have not been able to fill a gap that's been around for almost 2 months on this. However, we're almost at an even high. So anything above today would be potentially the start of a new higher high trend. Everybody and their brothers expecting some sort of a pullback here, and I think we will join that sentiment exactly the same. You got the weekly starting to trend higher again. So 2 decent bars, 1 full week, most of the half of this week. RSI moving back above 50. Over on the daily, MACD continues to rise. RSI continues to rise. We're well above the 21. We're above the 50, the 21 heading back up to the 50 EMAs. And really not at an overbought level. So I think there's more to go here. Again, wouldn't be surprised to see us drop back to about this 21-day moving average or so, around the 430-ish level, so 4,300 on SPX. I think that's a very realistic pullback, and then potentially another leg up as we head into the latter part of this year with some seasonality on our side. If you're looking at the Qs, continue to break down on the Qs are above the 2 ATR. A slight, ever so slight 24 cents increase here. Everything I just said about SPY can be said about the Qs. I think a pullback is warranted, but doesn't have to be anything massive. I'm not talking about a bear market anything here. You broke out above this trend. You're getting a little bit overdone, at least on the chart, but not on RSI here. But you're getting to the 2 ATR. Sure, a little pullback could be warranted. Now, IWM going the opposite way has not had a good week this week. So it's been down really all 3 days this week as it heads back down towards this support level. We'll keep an eye on it, see what happens. But you're moving down towards this support level here where we have bounced a number of times. We got gaps to fill up here. We got gaps to fill down here. We just filled one of the gaps already. We got another gap down here. We fill that gap, and then do we get moving higher? Weekly, nice recovery on MACD and RSI a bit, but daily starting to turn over. So not really good sign on IWM. So small caps not doing as well. If we look at the S&P stocks over their 50-day moving average, pretty much unchanged on the session, sitting around 45% on that. We look at the put-call ratio. Again, you're starting to continue to get some weakness. I like looking at the 10-day moving average here. So let's take a look at what that looks like here on this one. And you're continuing to move lower. This is all very bullish for stocks. As the 10-day moving average on the put-call ratio continues to move lower, stocks will continue to move higher. So it peaked around here. Second peak right in here where we hit these lows. Okay, good divergence in here. So we weren't making new highs on the put-call ratio, and we were, while we were making new lows. Good indication a reversal was coming. If this continues to sell off and move down, we can certainly expect the markets to move higher. Now, it doesn't mean we don't move up a little bit more here, hitting a high, maybe rebounding back up here a little bit, not passing the 1 mark, but moving back up a bit as maybe we get a little bit of a pullback. We'll see what happens. And then if it continues its legs down, I would expect this S&P to continue to move higher. So let's just keep going here. Take a look at the VIX. VIX dropped a little bit more today. VIX just been in an absolute free fall from 22 all the way to 1445 now. Looking at the US dollar on the session, it was up slightly on the day. So the US dollar, I think they're calling it unchanged. So technically unchanged on the day, but it really moved higher, finished where it opened. Take a look at TNX. So here is the 10-year Treasury. 10-year Treasury continued to weaken and sell off here. Very weak on the weekly chart, and MACD RSI just falling on the daily chart. Now, not setting necessarily new lows here, but we'll keep an eye on it. If this thing starts to turn and move up, we'll see what happens. And of course, that would lead to a decent update on TLT, which continues to just move its way higher. Really good bounce off of these lows, and TLT has moved up now from about 82 to about 89. So about 7 points, a good 7% or so. So for those of you that bought at the exact bottom, fantastic, you're up a bit. For those of you that have been buying back in here, we're probably right around where your average costs are. I like it here. I like this recovery. I just think we need a little bit of a pullback like the market here. If we can pull back to this uptrend line, 21 EMA, something in this here, I think that would be, to me, the best signal to want to do something on TLT. All right, let's take a quick look at the futures. 6A, down day today as the dollar kind of just held in there. Down day on the British pound, down day on the Canadian dollar, down day on the euro today as well. So if we look at the euro in here, actually maybe a little bit of an update on the euro overall. So slightly higher on the euro during the day sessions, down a little bit in after hours here, but just can't seem to get any more momentum going. MACD starting to tip over on the daily. Even though the weekly trend is up, I still think it's a good base. And I think there's a really great spot, in my opinion, to sell some 112 trades, do a few other things in there. If we take a look at bonds and where those bonds are, they again moved higher today as we saw in the rest of the market. So bonds moving higher. For us, we had been selling naked puts down in here, and then as this move started to get a little bit frothy on us, we stopped, and we'll chill out a bit on that. All right, and then if we look at oil, dropped on the session, up fractionally in after hours today. If you look at this head and shoulders pattern, maybe the neckline is up in here somewhere that it broke. If you really want to get technical on this head and shoulders, it's probably where it is now. I wouldn't even finish drawing anything. I think this is probably a pretty good head and shoulders. You might be able to draw a little bit of an angled line in here, something along this line, with this being the actual head and shoulders pattern. If this is the line you're looking at where left shoulder, head, right shoulder, it broke the neckline back here. This neckline from yesterday, not exactly the perfect neckline because this shoulder started way up here. So I think you've already broken it, and you've got to move from about 94 down to 83-ish or so and change. So it's about 11 points. And from this 83, we're down to 75. So we're almost where this bottom of this head and shoulders pattern actually may truly be. I'm going to mark this thing with a orange line here just so we can really see what's going on. But you came down here, nicked the 3 ATR, bounced off of it fractionally. We're a little bit weaker to flat in the after hours session here. we have now dipped into oversold territory on the daily. I like it here. I think this is good options. I think this is a great place to consider at least putting on a 1-1-2 trade. I'd also consider, if we look at the volatility has picked up the last couple sessions again. So volatility starting to head back up a bit. I like it as a strangle play in here. So, I'm not of the camp that oil is going, into the 60s, low 60s or anything anytime soon. Couldn't it hit 70 now? I really thought it would hold right around this area, 75, 77, 78 range. That's where I looked at it. If you really consider this head and shoulders, I think 74 might be a decent range. I think maybe you could put, in fact, if we go over here to this previous spike that we failed at, bring this line across. Now I know we got a million lines. So some of you post in the comments, too much spaghetti or something here. But I know there's a lot. So I apologize for that. Let's take this line. This line was a previous resistance level that turned into support that we hit and then broke through. Now, do we come back up, hit that and turn over? I'm going to leave it on, but this is another support level here, which was a previous resistance or pivot level dating way back in here to this week of 529. That was a pretty good pivot level downside. And we did bounce off of it yesterday. We'll see if this level holds, which is also right around the 3 ATR. We're getting oversold. So I think you've got to really start to consider, is this something that, is a viable play here? I think when you start to look at volatility starting to pick up a little bit here. So I think good volatility overall in the market is something that we want to keep an eye on. In fact, I'm going to, we'll pull up some other stuff in a little bit, but a decent volatility spike overall here on some things. So we'll keep an eye on where it's going, but overall, I do like where we are on this particular move. So we'll keep an eye on it, but oil, I do like it here for a 1-1-2 trade. I do like it here for a couple other reasons. So we'll talk about that more when the time comes here. But I do like 1-1-2 trades here, potentially strangles here for sure, although the upside would concern me a tad. And then I think I will get back into selling some more naked puts, which we already have on here. Now that we're tagging oversold levels on RSI and the 3 ATR, I do like those particular levels in here. So I think that's something to definitely keep an eye on as we move forward. All right, so there's where we are on oil. If we take a look at gold here as well, has been dropping, pulled back now right to that 20, just broke the 21, hitting at the 50 EMA. MACD has been falling, RSI has been falling, tipping over on the weekly. It's a good pullback area. If you look at the weekly, we are almost dead center between the Bollinger Bands and the ATR levels. That's a pretty good spot, in my opinion, to look to put on some strangles in gold. And then over here, same thing on the daily. You're really sitting pretty much in the middle of those ranges of the ATR and the Bollinger Bands, and they're starting to tighten a bit. So I think now's the time before they get too tight to potentially put something on in gold. I like gold here. And if we also take a look at gold volatility, it did get a little bit of a pop today as well. So a little bit of gold volatility. One thing we'll take a quick look at is, I don't use it a lot, but we'll talk about the CVOL in here. I don't use this extensively for a lot of things. But if we take a look at the CVOL in here on oil, so if we're taking a look at oil here on the yearly chart, you've got the dark line, which is your CVOL index, which is your volatility, getting a little bit of a pop the last couple sessions while the price is dropping. It's not back to these highs, which were fantastic opportunities to sell volatility. However, you sold volatility while this thing started to drop. But I like the volatility in oil here starting to come back. So I think that's a good opportunity. And then if we also look at potentially the opportunity in gold as well, let's just get this off the screen, and we'll see if we can move this off. And we'll take a look at gold as well on this. I like the yearly chart, and let's tighten it up a bit. So let's get into the last couple months. Here, volatility has just gone straight down on gold, even as it started to tip over and head lower. But now you got volatility starting to come back up. It's early, but I do like this on volatility. I like the positioning of the stock. Volatility is not at the lows. Again, I don't rely on CVol to be my guide. I think it's something you can pay attention to here, but I do like looking at gold volatility here. It's pretty much mirroring what we just saw on the CVol, but the volatility has just been coming out and now beginning to move higher. But we did see it on oil that this has already started to really move higher nicely. And I like where oil is positioned in here to start to do some 112 and some other trades. So I think you got to pay attention to all the different resources that you have, but look at volatility a bit, and how you do that, I don't care. Whether you're looking at a volatility index, you want to look at the CVol a bit, which again doesn't always make sense for most underlyings, but you can take a look at it, and then looking at the VIX. So these are my key 3 trades anyway. So if I'm looking at the VIX, volatility is dropping on the indexes, and then on the OVX, which is your oil, volatility starting to rebound, and it's been at a high. It's just off its highs. So good volatility on oil, and then gold, it's back kind of in the middle of the range that it's been at. If we go back here and look, volatility, I mean, it has spiked up to the upper 20s. It's gone down here as low as 10. It's sitting right around 14 with a little bit of a bounce today, kind of right in the middle. Any kind of an increase in gold volatility, I think, makes gold very, very attractive right now. So there's your futures. Let's take a look at the sectors and what won and lost today on the sectors. And nothing really winning today. Probably the biggest winner was a 0.5 percentage point gain in real estate, 0.5 percentage point in technology, 0.6% tech, continuing to rise, but hitting the 3 ATR. We are overdone. You're hitting overbought here. This is not the time to get long. I saw some YouTubers saying, it's all in, massive rally ahead, massive opportunities here. The massive opportunities are not here. The massive opportunity, if you're any intelligence here, the massive opportunity was at the bottom of this channel when it bounced and started heading higher, and you broke out here with the 50 on the RSI. That was where you got long. Now, after this thing has run up for 8 straight days, you got to be crazy if you want to get super long in here. I think you wait for the pullback, and if we get the pullback, base out and start to tick higher again, you got a great opportunity. So I think good things may be up for the next month or so. However, I think you got to wait for a pullback. I think you got to be smart on what you're trading. If we're taking a look at semiconductors here, up fractionally. Again, bottom of the channel as it moved up and broke to 50 here. This was your chance to get long. It broke to 50 on the RSI. MACD broke through the 0 line on the histogram here. It broke above the 21. That was your opportunity here. Right about here at 17. Now it's at 1867. I'd be a little nervous trying to get long on that at this point in time. And then XLF pretty flat, industrials flat, healthcare flat. Biggest losers on the day, biotech, but they've had such a nice run from 63 up to 71. Big down day, a big up day, and now kind of an engulfing-ish candle to the downside. So pretty good down day here. And then oil continuing to get whacked upside the head. But 3 ATR to the downside and almost into oversold territory on RSI. Now, would you get short here? I think that would be just as crazy as getting long tech right here. I think these are the opportunities that when we get to these overextended moves that we have, this is where, to me, reversals come in. I'm a reversal trader. I'm looking for overextended areas, overextended opportunities to move. Okay? I'm looking for an overbought region where we start to break down, come down, and maybe we'll tag the 50 or something and move lower. I'm looking for these chances to reverse off of highs. But I also want to see, we've talked about this before, if you're tagging the 3 ATR, but the 3 ATR is going up at a 45-degree angle, the reversal is not really going to happen there. You can be oversold and you can stay oversold for some time. If we're just following the 3 ATR and the 2 ATR here, if we're following those up at a 45-degree angle, there's not an opportunity for reversal. The opportunity is when the 2 ATR or really the 3 ATR is moving sideways, either on the downside or the upside, and we tag it. Here's a good example here. We tagged it here, but we had a down arrow day. I'd be very skeptical, but we tagged it here, and then you started to get reversals the next day back up through. It hadn't been traveling for long. I don't really love it, but here I think, can this continue lower? It can, but we've been in much more of a sideways mode. I'd be more willing to take a look at 3 ATR on a sideways move or a tightening than I would when it's expanding or moving in one direction only. So there's your sectors. Really a nothing day as far as the sectors go. Taking a look at Apple, just on a march and a move higher, up another 0.6% today. RSI, MACD moving higher, breaking the 2 ATR. Now, again, it's a very flat 2 ATR, very flat 3 ATR. To me, it's a good potential area to look for reversals. We're not overbought on RSI, but we don't have to be. We can get close and then travel back down through the 50 here, like you just saw here, and move lower. Okay. I love it when we get overextended. I love it when we get up and we tag the 3 ATR that's kind of in a sideways-ish move, like we did here, and then we went lower. And then we came down doggone close to tagging it here and bounced higher. We tagged it here in a very flat sideways 3 ATR and bounced higher. I think you got to be smart with what you're looking at for this. So looking for potential reversals here is what I would be doing. Microsoft, absolute terror of a stock, but you're traveling. Let's get rid of this line and you can see it. Okay, we're traveling up this 3 ATR level. And the 2 ATR, they're moving pretty decently. They're not in a 45-degree angle, so they are a little bit sideways. I think if you get any kind of a consolidation, you try to get consolidation here, but we were strongly rocking and rolling. Now we are overbought on RSI. Weekly overbought, daily overbought, getting pretty long in this up MACD move here, and above the 3 ATR. I think this is a good opportunity to look for a reversal. Now, does that mean the reversal is coming tomorrow? I don't know, but right now we are down 50 cents or so in the aftermarket. Doesn't mean it'll stay that way. I think this is where you start to look for potential reversals. Okay, it is not the time to go buy Amazon. It is not the time to buy Microsoft. Amazon, same thing, tapping up against the 3 ATR today. You got a MACD, 1 day down candle, RSI 1 day down, and getting this little bit of a rollover here on Amazon, down what, 0.5% on the session, hitting the 3 ATR and rolling over tomorrow. I think if you can look here, you might get some more follow through. We're already down in the after hours session at least 0.5 point or so. So how do I play it? I'm looking for reversals. I might look to sell, maybe put credit spreads or something in here. I hate selling naked calls. I hate call credit spreads for the most part. If you're going to do something on the call side here, it's got to be a call credit spread. I hate naked calls. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. Won't do it. But I think it's a good opportunity for call credit spreads. You can define your risk, get out of the money a bit, get above some certain levels here. We're not there yet on the daily or the weekly. We're starting to move higher. So I'd like to see maybe some sideways, but if you want to play a quick break, you could day trade it or something down. Meta continuing to move higher, nowhere near the 2 or 3 ATR, nowhere near overbought. Meta can continue to go higher. Google, pretty much the same thing, still trying to fill this gap, still looks good, nowhere near overbought, dead center here. I think Google, good continuation opportunity. NVIDIA, if you thought you should short it here at the bottom, again, I think it's crazy to short at some sort of a bottom here, but you got the 3 ATR and 2 ATR that you tagged. I want this thing to be riding something up or riding something down. You've been in a good sideways trend in NVIDIA now since all the way back here in June. It really, it's at the same price it was on July 13th. So NVIDIA's moved nowhere now since July 13th. So that's almost, 4 months? You haven't moved a muscle in 4 months. Just up and down and up and down and up and down. Yeah, you had this potential head and shoulders like we were talking about on oil. Didn't break it. It bounced. It came down, broke the 2 ATR a couple times, but that 2 ATR and 3 ATR were fairly flat. We bounced and we made that move higher. Now we're heading up to the 2 ATR to the upside. This is not my chance to get long. You got earnings coming up in a week or so. I don't want to get in front of that steamroller. Tesla, a little bit of a down day on the session today, right in the middle of all of those bands. Nothing exciting to do on Tesla. I think it could continue to move higher a bit. It had a nice move, consolidating a bit here. I think if you look at this, potentially a little bit of a triangle forming, and you could break to the upside. I think filling that gap is a real good possibility if the market hangs in there for you. AMD getting up and overextended as well. And then I'm going to give you a couple quick stocks to take a look at here today. Did not do any research on any of these. But these would be stocks that I would look at for potential call credit spreads. Okay, FIDO, Bitcoin here. So taking a look at that particular one, overdone, oversold, overbought RSI, MACD heading lower, over the 3 ATR, but that 3 ATR is on a solid 45-degree uptrend. So right now, I don't want to get in front of that steamroller. Cardinal Health, way overdone. It's a pretty strong uptrend on the 3 ATR, but you're pretty far above that, and you're hitting it on the weekly. I think this is also a good potential call credit spread opportunity here on Cardinal Health. If we take a look at Chipotle, way above the 3 ATR, way above it. Even though 3 ATR is rising, it's not quite a 45, maybe more like 30-degree angle. MACD's already rolling over. You're overbought here, and until this 3 ATR and 2 ATR start to flatten, you may ride being overbought. However, you've got a little bit more room to the upside here. I think you got to wait till you start to flip over a little bit more. Wait to see, the Bollinger Bands, which is just shooting straight up, and these things start to flatten, and maybe another day or so. But I think Chipotle is another one to the downside. I'm just going to skip through some of these. DraftKings, way over the 3 ATR, overbought as well. On DraftKings, breaking the Bollinger Bands here, breaking this 3 ATR, again, can it turn up and we can travel along it? Yes, but you're way above, and this thing is not pointing up that dramatically here. A sideways move or slight down move tomorrow, I think it's on. I think DraftKings is another potential call credit spread. Short term, again, maybe pulling back to the 21 EMAs here. That could be around the 31-ish range. Let's look at Microsoft. We already talked about this one here. I think this one could be something, I want to see a sideways to down day or two. MicroStrategy, another Bitcoin type of play here. It's just riding the 3 ATR up so you don't touch it. Okay, even though MACD is turning over, RSI continues to just live in overbought because your 3 ATR is at a 45-degree angle up and you're riding it up. You don't get in front of riding that thing to the upside. All right, a few more. Roblox is another one. We got an earnings move here. So earnings here, the actual was less bad than anticipated and a pretty good jump to the upside. 3-day rule is in effect. Anything that gaps on earnings like this, like Google did, whatever, I don't touch it for 3 days. Let it calm down. So don't do anything on Roblox. Looking at Starbucks here, big pump on earnings, See, there's the 3-day, and now starting to run out of steam. The 3-day rule could keep going. And then after that, I'm looking for potentially some calming down. Doesn't mean it will, okay? But you're way above the 3 ATR on Starbucks here. Decent weekly chart. Overbought RSI. Maybe another day or two, we keep an eye on Starbucks and see what happens on this. But I think Starbucks is another potential target. So there's a few stocks to take a look at. Let's take a look at the account here today. So here's what we saw in the account on the session today. Delta popped up to 525.16, still perfectly delta neutral for us. Nothing to do there. I don't even think about it. Theta is up to 1390. All good on Theta. A lot of that may have to do with some of the oil volatility as well, and gold volatility popping up today. So generating a little bit of Theta as we go, 1390.43, perfectly in line. Net lick dropped a bit today, mostly all oil. Everything else was pretty flat on the session. We're letting Theta work, a little bit of a pullback in the net lick. BP usage popped up. Now, again, we are on bill. We did add $100,000 worth of BIL. That should come out as well, I think today or tomorrow, and have the maintenance margin at 25%, which would be about 25 grand, which is impacting our BPUs. What is it? 25 grand. Let me pull out the trusty calculator here. If you're looking at 25 grand on a roughly $320,000 account here, it's about 8%. So 8% of this is bill. Okay, so we're really at 73% BP usage. It's a little high, but it's not ridiculous. We'll keep an eye on it. We'll let some things come off. And no, nothing today. Didn't close a single thing. I was in and out most of the day. Didn't have a chance to trade any zero DTE. Was busy with some other things this morning. So we just stayed out of the market today. Didn't close anything, but we're still up $15,000 on the month. And if we take a look at the small account as well, that account stayed roughly the same, up a few bucks today. Didn't close anything. BP usage dropped. We're well under 40-50%, so I think we'll get some trades on in the small account tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. If you're in the Discord, be sharing those trades live. We'll be going through what trades we put on tomorrow in the Discord channel. So overall, that's where we are on the markets. Appreciate you guys jumping in with us here. Nothing new to report. No trades closed today, but taking a look at some of the volatility, you got some great opportunities potentially on volatility. I think playing some call credit spreads here on a little bit of a dip short term. I'm not talking 30-day. I'm probably talking a little bit shorter, but I think you got some call credit spreads opportunities as you look for stuff that is overextended to the upside, expecting a pullback. 21 EMA would be my target on most of these that are overextended above the 3 ATR. So I think that's what you look for. All right, everybody take care. If you like this video, please click the like button. Could really use your help there. It helps get the word out to everybody. If you're not a subscriber, subscribe. Find out what we're doing. I got lots more to come for you. I've been pretty busy this last week or so, but I got some new educational training stuff. If you want to see how we're adjusting, if you want to see the intricate details of when to put them on, how we're putting them on, when to adjust, you got to come and join us. Okay, I try to share as much stuff as I can here free. I'm sharing my accounts with you that we're trading in the Discord, and I'm also sharing all of the results with you, so you get a chance of what we're trading and a little bit of how we're trading. But if you want to be there trading with us side by side, join Igor, join myself in the Mr. Top Tick Income Navigator service. Join up, see what we're doing, learn something, and learn to fish for yourself. Don't be following alerts from anybody, me or anybody else out there. I want you to learn how to adjust. I want you to learn when to put the trades on. Nothing makes me more excited than when I post a trade to say, members say, yeah, I just put that trade on 2 days ago or yesterday, or I'm already in that trade, or that's pretty close to what I just put on strike-wise. Okay, I love that. Okay, I want to see people trading for themselves, learning how to fish. Great people doing some great things over here in the Discord. So we'll keep running on it. And again, This is something we were posting today. So adjusting strangles. Okay. Don't adjust your strangles. Hey, I learned the wrong way. It never works out. I just lost some money adjusting strangles. We're telling you, stop adjusting strangles. Don't go inverted. Don't do some of those things. Listen to us. We got some experts in there. We're going to help you navigate this trade process. We're going to help you navigate some of the BS that you hear out there. And we're going to help you save money while you make money by not making those mistakes, but learning how to adjust, how to work the Greeks, how to make the things happen in your account. All right, that's enough for me. You guys have a great rest of your evening. Take care, everybody. Be safe, and we'll catch you tomorrow. Bye-bye.